and the microphone didn't do anything. It actually worked correctly.
That's the way things are actually supposed to go.
Well, not for us. Hey guys, welcome back to There Will Be Extras. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And so Ron, I have a new life goal for us.
Okay.
Okay, we need to get big enough to where rabid fangirls will bite Jeff at a convention. We have, what do we have, 6 subscribers on YouTube? At least one of those has to be a rabid hot fangirl, I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're with 6 subscribers on YouTube and the 2 or 3 we get on the podcast through iTunes. Yeah, dude, we're like well on our way to the top. I
mean, just the laws of probability. One of them has to be
a rabid fangirl.
Yeah.
All right. See, here's the thing with your luck, one of them would actually be a walker. By the way.
Yeah, that'd be my luck.
That would be the start of the zombie. They'd be like patient 0 of the zombie apocalypse. That'd be your luck.
Yep. All right, we're going to start off with the news of the week, and we're starting out as usual with the movies. And this first news article was very upsetting to Jeff because just as soon as I think I'm fucking done here about these goddamn Hunger Games movies, no, we're getting prequels. Hallelujah.
You gotta have the prequels, Jeff. That's what it's all about now.
I didn't really even look up this article. Did you get any more info on this other than they're making prequels?
No, and they weren't even saying that they were like making them. It was one of the bigwigs over at Lionsgate on the article I read. I think it was on Vanity Fair. They were basically just saying in an interview that since the movie series is now over, they're contemplating a way to keep it going was to go back and do prequels. And they said one of the reasons that they thought, this is the part where I laughed, one of the reasons that they thought the most recent Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2, was the lowest grossing one of the franchise was because there wasn't enough action in it and it wasn't dark enough. I saw the movie. Quite a bit of action. Some of it's quite fucking dark. Where you fucked up, Lionsgate, was splitting that movie into 2 parts for no fucking reason. That's where you
there was a reason. It was money. That was the only reason.
But, I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing. There are no other books for source material. So it would be all original content. And if Mockingjay Part 1 is any indication about original content and their ability to stretch things out, it's not going to be good.
I don't think they had... Okay, I like the second movie. Could not get into the first one, and I still haven't even gotten around to watching the last 2. So, I just never really got,
I'll tell you this.
They're trying to treat it like it's like Harry Potter.
No, they're trying to treat it like Star Wars.
I honestly think that Harry Potter's world is more rich about pulling crap out of your ass than Hunger Games.
No, dude, they've totally tried to model it after Star Wars. Now they're trying to go back and do prequels also. Because if you look at all the parallels in the movie, and I'm assuming the books, I haven't read them, I don't know. But I mean, their shock troopers are dressed in all white. President Snow is basically the Emperor and Darth Vader in one body. Everything about it, there's a rebel faction versus an empire. Everything in it is Star Wars. There's just no lightsabers and nothing interesting.
I don't what do they have? 2 good characters? It wasn't even the source material they're pulling from already didn't really have that much rich content.
Yeah.
So it's how are they going to mine it for more? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. I didn't get the love for the franchise in the first place. When that first movie came out, people would not shut up about it. I went and saw it, and it was just it felt like something you'd watch on a Saturday afternoon on the CW. It felt like a TV movie almost to me.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The second movie was pretty good. I
really liked the second one.
Mockingjay Part 2 might be up there with the second one. But that is also coming from a guy that has virtually no love for the franchise at all, so I don't know if that's saying much.
Yeah, I think the first part of Mockingjay is on Hulu,
really,
but I'm gonna probably wait till they're both out on like Netflix to watch it.
Here's the thing: start with part 2, skip part 1. Nothing happens in part 1. You're not missing anything. I will throw this out there. Vanity Fair, this was just the author of the article. This was not anything said by Lionsgate or anything like that. I want to be clear about that. But this did interest me. And that is, to me, the most interesting character in the franchise is Woody Harrelson's character, Haymitch. And in the books, they go into his backstory. And his backstory is pretty interesting. And Vanity Fair said they would like to see a Haymitch movie. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be Woody Harrelson through the whole thing. Woody Harrelson would probably be at the end of the movie. So they have to cast a younger Haymitch. But I would be fine with that. I would watch that. I would, be happy to go pay money to see that, because that's the character that got me through all of those movies. Is Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, I'd be totally all in on that. And
I don't want to say here. I don't want to say here for spoilers or anything. But if you don't know his backstory, I'll tell you about it because Chris told me about it later.
Oh, I'm pretty familiar. I had a few coworkers back when it was coming out that gave me a lot of details, so I'm fairly familiar with them, at least from the earlier books. But that was one of the things I think that was frustrating about watching those movies, is because like I found his character interesting. And, like, Snow's character interesting. But the people they fucking focus on are all of, like, the one-note boring leads. Like, Jennifer Lawrence is a great actress. She didn't have shit to do in those films.
No, and what's ironic is those put her on the map. Like, she's done several other movies now, and she's won awards for those movies and stuff. But, without these movies where they didn't give her anything interesting to do or say or portray, is what put her on the map. It's kind of ironic, really.
And what's the dude's PETA?
Oh God,
maybe the most boring lead character in a famous novel I think I've ever seen.
He has about as much charisma and personality as the bread he bakes at his parents' bakery.
Do you remember some people were like,
I Am Bread has more personality, I think.
You remember when that was a thing? Like, who the fuck thought that was a good idea?
What?
That back when we reported on Spider-Man before it was Tom Holland, he was one of the names being thrown around.
Oh yeah. No, I remember that, and it was Tobey Maguire all over again in my mind.
I do. I think that's disrespectful to Tobey Maguire. I think even Tobey Maguire has more charisma than fucking PETA, dude. Those Hunger Games movies just did not do well for him as an actor.
I don't attribute all of that to him. I think he has the same amount of charisma in real life as the loaf of bread he pretends to bake. But I think part of it is also the movies. I think Tobey Maguire is actually worse. I think some of it is the movies. Because, if they can take Jennifer Lawrence and make her kind of blah, then what would they do to someone that's already blah? Woody Harrelson was even kind of blah.
In the day, I'm just sick of fucking Hunger Games, and I was glad they were over, and now they're coming back, and it makes me sad. And, weren't they just, what kind of irritated me, too, is after hearing that it was basically a rip-off of Battle Royale, I haven't gone back to watch Battle Royale, but, I looked up the descriptions of Battle Royale, and I was like, this shit isn't even, an original idea. What made Hunger Games so popular? I don't understand. I don't know.
Merchandising.
I don't know. We spent too much time talking about this. We're going to move on to a different prequel, potentially, I think. So, recently in the news, Quentin Tarantino kind of broke the internet a little bit as far as, the Tarantino fan base he has around by saying, where was this interview captured at again? I think he was at, was it at a festival or something?
Yeah, it was some kind of film festival, I thought. Why Tarantino's hanging around a film festival, I don't know. You have to be a filmmaker, I thought.
So basically he dropped that
life.
He's throwing around ideas for Kill Bill 3, which made me kind of scratch my head, because as far as I'm concerned, the story kind of ended.
Yeah, the story began in 1 and ended in 2, which is kind of what you expect from the story. So, and then if it's a prequel, it can't be Kill Bill 3. So, what the fuck, Tarantino?
He didn't ever specifically say, I think, that it was Kill Bill 3. It could be Kill Bill : bullshit prequel name. Like I don't know. If it's not a prequel, what else do you do on it?
I don't know. That's why, and you see, and you're not a fan of those movies, but I am, and I'm even like, what the hell are you going to do? Because
I don't
honestly, strongly
dislike them. I just dislike them compared to some of the other Tarantino stuff.
I didn't say you hated them, to be fair. I said you just weren't a fan. Yeah. But, I just, as a huge fan of those movies, I'm not even that interested in a prequel for them. I got everything I needed out of the first two. I don't need any more. I don't want to. I feel like this is one of those things that it's beautiful because of what it is and how short and to the point it was. I feel like if you start expanding on it, it's just going to take some of the charm away from it.
Yeah, and it's very strange too because Tarantino is typically a guy who doesn't even do a second movie. So for him to be throwing around a third,
and the only reason there was two of those is just because the story idea was so long, he had to break it. Yeah, that's the only reason that there's even a sequel to the first one. It's all one movie. It's not actually even a sequel.
Who knows? Tarantino's a crazy person, so
yeah, he is.
There's more than likely this will never happen.
I am looking forward to the Hateful Eight, though.
I just found the idea of him even contemplating it at all strange. It made me scratch my head. But yes, speaking of scratching our head, we recently watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 trailer. Oh man, they don't give a shit.
Yep.
They don't give a shit if that movie looks good or is good. All they care about is how many toys they're going to sell because it is obviously for kids.
Yeah, and it is clearly a toy commercial. Which, don't get me wrong, the cartoon was, but the cartoon was a much better commercial. That trailer is literally the dumbest thing I have ever seen. And I think it's probably even dumber than the first trailer, the trailer for the first movie, I mean. But yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. I thought it was kind of cool that they went out of their way to do Bebop and Rocksteady. I wasn't expecting Bebop and Rocksteady with any of those movies.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate them bringing them in, I guess, but I just hate that it had to be these people doing these movies.
Yeah. There's also...
because I feel like that's kind of like... Chris O'Donnell Robin. Like, if we ever did get a good reboot of this franchise in another 30 years, that we'll never see these characters again.
I think the best chance you have for good turtle stuff is going to be animated, I think. It's going to have to be done in animation with people who are... that's part of the problem is, the name you see in the trailer... is Michael Bay.
Yes.
It's the same type of thing with the Transformers. It's clearly done by people who don't give a shit about what their property they're adapting. It's purely just them using it as a tool to make money.
Yeah, I mean, they're making the movie just because they know that it's a popular property and it'll make $1 bajillion. That's literally all there is to it. And
it's kind of about, I will say the one thing is I am happy for Stephen Amell.
Yes.
For your first movie role to be Casey Jones, I think is pretty damn cool.
Stephen Amell was the best part of that trailer.
What'd you say, sorry?
Stephen Amell was the best part of that trailer.
Yeah. What sums up our whole point about this is, I don't know if you follow Stephen Amell on Twitter or not, but his first tweet about it was basically him saying, I got to show my daughter, who's a toddler, that I'm in the Turtle movie. That's the whole concept of that trailer.
Yes.
Is it's sold to 5-year-olds. It's like they don't care about the 20 or 30-year-old people who grew up with it. It's not for us anymore. I think we just have to kind of accept that.
And here's the one thing I am happy about him being in that movie is, regardless of that movie's terrible or not, it's going to make $1 bajillion. It's going to be a AAA title made by AAA studios, and some people that shouldn't be AAA people that still are.
Michael Bay.
So, I mean, it's going to do wonders for his career. Yeah, I mean, he's a brilliant actor.
Which is, you can't go. I mean, plus the dude got paid. Like, they're not getting paid shit on CW. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I think so
that is the one good thing. That's the only thing this movie's going to be giving me is Stephen Amell in a cinematic movie career. Who knows? Maybe he'll actually be Green Arrow in a DCCU movie. Yeah,
I mean, who knows? I actually did see the first one. Ron did not. It was bad, but it wasn't so bad I was like pissed off like Transformers 2. So I will at least give it that.
Well, my history with the Turtles goes back as far as my history with Transformers. So that's what I grew up with, was those two things.
You would have ripped your hair out because
Michael Bay took those two things from me. The last thing I have is Power Rangers, and they're going to fuck it up too.
All right, well, we're going to move on to the next article. And next
Speaking of fucked up.
Huh?
Speaking of fucked up.
Yeah, speaking of fucked up. Okay, so next up in the movie news, it's December in 2015. Of course, we have to bring up Star Wars in some capacity.
Of course.
So this story was crazy to me, and it's a little bit old, but we wanted to make sure we went back and touched on it just to make sure we had our 2 cents thrown in. So it has been recently announced in the past few months that they're doing young Han Solo in a spinoff film. And it's being done by, I think it's Chris Miller and Phil Lord. They're famously known for the Lego movie. They're basically attached to every damn thing in Hollywood at the moment. Like, they're huge.
They're the hottest thing in Hollywood at the moment. Everything they do is gold. They've
started the casting call for this, and the number that headlines the article will just blow your mind. 2,500 actors. I didn't even know there were 2,500 actors between the ages of 18 and 30 in Hollywood.
Yeah, dude. Some like most of those have to be unknowns.
Like with that much, like Jeff auditioned to get up to 2,500 people auditioning.
Yeah,
like it's just insane. And some of the names that got reported were fucking gold.
And this is why we bring it up.
We're gonna start off with Coral from The Walking Dead.
Han Solo, Coral.
Why'd you let Greedo shoot you first, Coral? Yeah, like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, you're probably a pretty good actor. Too bad they write you to be a 10-year-old, even though you're 45.
Yep, I'm sure he has grandkids at this point.
But, like, dude, I'm sorry, you're not Han Solo. Miles Teller, good actor, has no charisma. Not gonna be Han Solo.
Yeah. No.
James Franco's brother, I think his name's Dave. Not fucking Han Solo, dude. And was it the dude who was Malfoy in Harry Potter?
Him and Coral are my favorite.
Solo.
Oh, fucking Draco Malfoy.
Like, but what's good about that crazy number though is that basically we're gonna get an unknown, which is what has to happen. Like, you cannot pick a known actor for that role and have them not get crucified.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter how good the movie is and how good they are, it will end their career. So, yeah.
Like,
unknown.
It's a, like, Clooney Batman situation, like, waiting to happen, like...
Pretty much.
Like, it didn't ruin
because this
George
is everybody's
career.
favorite character from one of the most beloved franchises. No one is going to be happy with anyone they cast unless it's an unknown.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I trust in those dudes. They've done, like, they picked Will Arnett for Lego Batman. Like, that shows you they know their shit. Like, I have faith in those dudes to find someone good. I think it'll be good. Also interested if they ever get around to start auditioning for young Lando, because I just recently watched Empire Strikes Back, and they say him and Han have been friends forever, so they could easily do a young Lando too, which that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
To like actually see the scene when Han wins like the Falcon from him at the poker table would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, no, I'd be all over that. It should be like the two of them starring. It should be like the shenanigans they got into, like the reason that they know each other.
Yeah, and obviously they're going to have Chewbacca. You can't do a Han movie without Chewbacca.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Chris Miller and Phil Lord would never work again if they did that.
Yeah. All right, we got one more thing left in the movie news. This one was pretty interesting. So I'm assuming you haven't ever read any of this. I have always wanted to. It's on my to-do list.
What would make you think that I have not read a comic?
Well, it's not a comic, it's a novel series.
Or a novel series.
Yeah.
Same thing, really.
So Stephen King's The Dark Tower has been a property Hollywood has been trying to adapt into either a TV series or a movie series for like literally a decade. Like, it's been a long time coming. and it's recently started to kind of actually gain some steam and start to get some names. The lead character of the series, if you're not familiar with it, I can kind of sell it to you because it's basically, from my understanding, Firefly with supernatural sci-fi horror elements mixed in.
Okay.
Which I am all over, and especially if they get this guy for the lead, because the guy they're targeting to be the lead, which his name is, I believe, Roland Deschain.
Yes.
There's some controversy over the pronunciations, but that was my first impression on it. Idris Elba is who they're wanting.
Fuck yes.
Which I will literally watch Idris Elba read out of the phone book. Like, I don't give a shit. Dude's just a genius. Dude could be Batman.
The picture on this article,
anybody.
The picture in this article is literally just him sitting back, looking, facing towards the camera with his eyes going off to the side, and it's a fucking badass picture, and that's all he's doing. Yeah, no.
Like, dude is just, like, literally, maybe the only dude who you could say, this guy could be Bond, you don't care. This guy could be Batman, I'd be okay with being Batman. Like, literally anything,
a lot of
cool
people
with Idris Elba doing. I mean, he was recently, he was in Pacific Rim too, wasn't he?
Yep.
That was one of his more recent big movie roles. Stacker Pentecost, that crazy ass badass name. And he's, I don't know how you would know who Idris Elba is. He's Heimdall in Thor. That's maybe his most recognizable role, I guess. Like,
but yet not recognizable because he looks so different.
Yeah, just his most prominent role in the film landscape at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Luther.
I'm really interested in going and eventually reading this book series. I think it would work great for a movie, and Idris Elba needs to quit being talked about for main roles and be in main roles. Like, it's just a matter of time.
Dude, when he said he wanted to be Green Lantern, why the fuck didn't they sign him up then? Like, someone should have Kool-Aided their ass through the wall with a contract and said, sign here.
Yeah, it should have been a done deal in about 10 minutes, I agree. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, anyways.
But yeah, speaking of Stephen King, I'm not sure if you're familiar with his son's work. His son changed his last name to kind of like, branch off and get out from underneath his dad's name. Joe Hill.
Milk that shit, dude.
Joe Hill, he has really, really been like impressive to me in what he's been able to get accomplished in a short amount of time. Because he's only written a couple of comics and like I think his next novel is going to be his fourth novel. Basically everything he's done is in production in Hollywood in some capacity. Like, it's pretty crazy. This current story popping up was that one of his novels, Nosferatu, which was a very, very, very clever way he entitled it, because it's the license plate of the lead villain character of it, and it's spelled out, like Nos4A2. It's pretty clever. I always liked that title. Always been wanting to check out his stuff too, just haven't gotten a chance. The current one though that's trying to get it started is AMC, and it's quality if AMC is doing it, because they do not dick around with bad products.
Especially lately, dude. The shit that they've been going with lately. Well, Fear the Walking Dead aside. Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, they went out and got Walking Dead. They went out and got, like, Preacher looks fantastic. Can't wait for that. Into the Badlands wasn't an established property, but it's good stuff. Like, they're not, like, they do not put bad programming on
AMC
TV.
Stepped it up, man. They got serious. So for them to be going after this, I think
it'll be very, very good. One of his comic series he wrote that I've really, really been wanting to check out is one of the more popular horror comics of the past few years. It was Lock and Key. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've heard of it, and I've heard of this one, but I don't know anything about them.
Lock and Key has been, like, Hollywood's desperately been trying to get that one made. It's been talked about as a pilot. I think they might have even started production on a pilot at some point, but it didn't end up seeing the light of day. Then it got bought by some other film company for the rights, and then it got tossed back into a show. But I think it shows good quality that everyone's fighting for his properties. So I think this will be good. Plus AMC, they haven't let us down. This next one excites me.
Oh, dude!
I
cannot wait.
So, if you haven't seen Samurai Jack, you need to find a way to watch Samurai Frickin' Jack. Because
Yes.
it was one of the last great cartoons, in my opinion. And this news was kind of mind-blowing, because just out of frickin' nowhere, I pull up Twitter, and Samurai Jack is trending.
And it's like, why the fuck would Samurai Jack be trending after all this time?
And then you follow the links, and you see they have a freaking badass poster of Jack silhouette, and then like Aku's silhouette in the background, and it says like Jack is back 2016, and holy hell!
And then the heavens
freaking wait.
parted, and angels sang. Like, yeah,
Cannot freaking wait. It's slated for 2016. They got the man himself, Gennady Tartakovsky, back. He is
bravo
working on them as we speak. He is going to be back as the writer, director, kind of showrunner type role that he was for basically every cartoon he was ever associated with. He was always kind of like the head honcho.
Well, shit, he basically built Cartoon Network with his
Yeah,
stuff.
no kidding.
Everything that I remember growing up was all his stuff, so...
Yeah. It's coming back 2016 on Adult Swim's Toonami block. So...
Yes.
So, okay, has Cartoon Network changed their shit? Didn't Toonami used to be, like, separate from Adult Swim?
Yes. That used to be like when you got home from school.
So, what happened? Did they, like, absorb it? Or is it...
Basically, as far as I know, and I'm probably wrong because it's been a while since I've watched Adult Swim, but I did watch Toonami when it first came back. And... they basically did away with the slideshow tile way of doing things. You know, how they would just have the funny text in between shows and introduce it. And they brought Toonami back to introduce the Adult Swim stuff and got it out of the Cartoon Network.
Okay.
As far as I could tell, too, it was the original voice of Tom, the original voice of the computer, everything. It was pretty fantastic. It was the Toonami 2.0 like spaceship and the rebuilt Tom and stuff. It was the same one that they left off with.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and go buy the Samurai Jack DVDs so I can steal them from you and immediately watch all of them.
Only if you watch them over here, so that we can just like sit here and watch them and introduce my wife to them.
Oh, she never watched Samurai Jack?
I'm about 90% sure that she's probably never even heard of it.
Oh, yeah, we have to do this, because I'm all about Samurai Jack.
Oh, dude, I miss this show. I didn't realize it ran as long as it did. How many episodes we find out it did?
I think it ended up doing like 50 or 60, like a good 4-year run. Like, I always assumed it was one of those that lasted like a season or two and then was gone.
Yeah, that's what it always felt like, but I guess not.
Did you know Phil LaMarr was the voice of Samurai Jack?
Where do I know that name?
The Jon Stewart Green Lantern on the Justice League cartoon.
Okay, no, did not
Never
know
knew that was the same dude. Till like literally IMDbing The Return. Just thought that was kind of crazy.
Huh. Yeah, no. My mind is still blown. Samurai Jack is returning.
Just that we're talking about it.
Yeah, the fact that we have a podcast and we were talking about Samurai Jack returning, and not probably returning, and not rumors that it's returning, that it is fucking coming.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I didn't even know anyone cared anymore.
I think it must have always done good, like ratings on reruns or something. Because
where were the reruns? Like,
well,
where was it even available?
Don't they have that channel where they show like the older stuff?
Boomerang?
I'm not sure. There, like something had to happen.
Because at least the last time I watched Boomerang, it was old Hanna-Barbera cartoons and Top Cat and shit like that.
Maybe their DVD sales are really good or something. Like something had to show them that.
Maybe Cartoon Network was just like, "Come back, we've made a terrible mistake."
Well, yeah. Also, just the fact that Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon are just dog shit now, other than like 3 things. It's just insane. This next story, I'm not really feeling this one, Ron.
No, I'm not really either. I was all over this before other things that we had reported on, but now I'm not.
So, we've talked multiple times over the last month about the whole Punisher replacing Iron Fist. Is this happening? You know, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was just all over the place. And we had another article we reported on, basically, where Jeff Loeb, one of the higher-ups on the TV division of Marvel, is just in the last week or so was coming out and saying, no, quit freaking out. We're doing Iron Fist. Don't, we haven't canceled it. And I kind of called bullshit on it because
the internet in general called bullshit on that. I think
because I don't know. To me, a more natural fit is Punisher, who they've already casted and is already, looking great from the trailer we've seen. Like,
dude, we saw that one trailer that shows virtually nothing, and the internet imploded, and then there was suddenly talk of him getting his own Netflix series, spinning off of Daredevil. So that is pretty tremendous from a teaser trailer that shows you the back of his head.
Yeah, it's just nothing but, raw excitement over it. And then this article breaks where we apparently have a showrunner for Iron Fist. And it's kind of sucks because like you, I was originally excited for this. Yeah. But when you start teasing me with Punisher in place of it, I'm just like,
well, fuck Iron Fist.
But he's not Punisher, and he's not John Bernthal.
I feel like I just got Iron Fisted with this news, dude.
What'd you say, sorry?
I said I feel like I just got Iron Fisted with this news.
Good Lord. And the person they got as the showrunner, just deadened my excitement even more because who they got is Scott Buck. And Scott Buck famously took over at some point along the run of
like it should
Dexter.
Be an insurance commercial like Affleck. Scott Buck.
He took over at some point in Dexter and went on to write the worst seasons of Dexter and was responsible for writing the screenplay, at least to some extent because he took a writing credit on it. The worst series finale I have ever seen in my life, and I watch a lot of TV.
Now, I've never seen Dexter, but the impression that I got of it was more like kind of murder mystery, Breaking Bad-ish, where the bad guys are the hero kind of thing. And that doesn't scream action show to me. So if he went on to write the worst seasons of that show and the worst series finale of all time, why would they get him for an action show?
I don't know. I'm scratching my head too. Now Dexter, okay, the concept of Dexter was he is a dude who during the day works as a forensics type dude. And at night, he is a serial killer who goes and kills all the criminals who they can't put away legally.
I guess that's kind of like Iron Fist.
It had some action to it, but not to the extent... Iron Fist should be, Into the Badlands.
Yes.
He's a kung fu, freaking sorcerer, basically. And... I mean, not even, we're not even... Okay, let's say even if they got, badass kung fu people who did it outside of Scott Buck's control. He didn't do good character work because, if you go to IMDb right now, Dexter overall probably has an 8. You want to know what the rating is on that series finale?
What is it?
A 4. It is that hated. Nothing gets that low on IMDb. Nothing. Even the fucking Turtles movie is not a 4. Jesus. So yeah, my interest, I will watch this shit because it's gonna have Marvel stamped at the front, but I have kind of barely to not, just no excitement for it at all anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm totally over Iron Fist. Now, I liked the idea better of Punisher, and then you bring Punisher into Defenders, which he still has an in for Defenders through Daredevil. But, I was all over the idea of Punisher getting his own season, and then doing the made-for-Netflix movie of Iron Fist. Because that was one of the rumors that was tossed around. But yeah, the coolest thing I think would have been Iron Fist gets his little movie, and they bring over all of the fight choreographers from Into the Badlands. That was so condescending. He gets his little movie.
You go have your little movie, and you guys have a fun time, and we'll go make the big boy shows. Yeah, this is a little bit unfair. I mean, it could be good. It's Marvel. Typically, they know what they're doing. So far, we've just seen some red flags. Which I mean, shit, dude. Jessica Jones has the Twilight chick as a showrunner.
Well, here's the thing that I have with Iron Fist. I was always kind of meh on Iron Fist. One, because it's never been a character I cared much about, and two, I mean, to me, it would be fairly similar to Daredevil, but with a little bit of Doctor Strange mixed in, right? I mean, the great thing that was going to be about these Netflix shows is how different each one was going to be from the other. I already got some brutal fucking action from Daredevil, and Punisher will be brutal, but it'll be brutal in a different way.
Yeah.
So Iron Fist seems to me like more of the same a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And
you know what I mean? I mean, like, it's not an exact copy paste, but it's along the same lines.
Yeah, like Daredevil went out of their way to be very crazy ass kung fu,
whereas Punisher should be like shoot 'em up, more or less.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm hoping for at this point, if they do go ahead and go through with Iron Fist, is that they just make a fifth Defender, and then just like let's say the Punisher with John Bernthal is super successful, everyone loves him, and then they just greenlight another show with Punisher, and then they just have 5 Defenders. I'm fine with that. They could totally make it work with another Defender.
Oh, easily. Especially Punisher. Punisher's so versatile of a character anyway. You can put him in any situation.
Yeah, so that one we will have to wait and see. A superhero team-up show that my ass is already on my couch first day it comes out is Legends of Tomorrow. Because
CW's Avengers plus Doctor Who.
In the last week, they did the Flash and Arrow team-up shit better than Avengers Age of Ultron by like fucking spades. Like, it was just sad.
Dude, it was better than Flash.
Yeah.
Like, that was insane. Flash is one of the better things on TV, in my opinion, right now. Even though it's all lighthearted and it's aimed probably more for, like, 15-year-olds to 18-year-olds, and I'm 30, it's one of the better things, the way it's written and the way it's done, the way that they use their graphics budget sparingly, but when they use it, it's, like, fucking impressive. Like, everything about that show is gold, and that team-up was better than the Flash show, I think.
Yeah, and it was all about setting up your villain of Legends of Tomorrow, which was Vandal Savage.
And lived up to his fucking name, dude.
Like, I don't know where the hell they got that actor from. Actor was amazing. I liked who they introduced as, I guess we're getting into, and it's not really, they're on the fucking poster, it's not really spoiling
dude,
it. Dude,
if we don't spoil it, most likely CW already has, so.
Yeah, they go out of their way to do that shit.
Yeah.
Like, we knew like a year and a half ago about the Canary thing.
Yes.
Like, literally a year and a half ago. But yeah, I liked who they got for Hawkman and Hawkgirl, and everyone that you know, already from Flash and Arrow, like the Atom and Snart.
See,
they're all
and what's
great.
funny was I was originally skeptical about having Hawkman and Hawkgirl both, but it fucking works, dude. I'm all over it.
Yeah, and we only got to see it, a couple of episodes of them, but I liked the actors and they got for everyone, so I'm all on board. It got a new poster that I just referred to that you need to seek out if you're a fan of the CW stuff at all. Because it was basically kind of like a comic splash page where they're all lined up on the left. It's got Hawkman, Hawkgirl at the top, I think, with I think it's got the Atom towards the front. I think at some point on the poster they did include is it Rip Hunter? Is that who Rory is?
Yes.
That's his name. He's basically like badass. He's
the War Doctor.
Yeah, and his costume kind of screamed like Blade Runner. Did you get kind of a vibe from that? Like he had like the trench coat look and everything. Like it looked pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, I've only really seen stuff for Blade Runner. I've never actually watched Blade Runner.
Oh, you haven't seen it? It's pretty good. Harrison Ford, dark sci-fi. But yeah, definitely at least go check out the poster. So you were saying before, I know you've been kind of hesitant to watch trailers. You are going to be watching the new trailer for this one?
Yeah, I intend to watch this trailer. So just because I'm pretty curious, and I don't have the same connection with these characters that I do, like Batman versus Superman. So,
see, like I think it works the opposite way for me because
you want to go
I
in
have more of
completely
a
blind.
connection to Batman, so I am intrigued by that movie, so I kind of feel like I want to watch the trailer. With Legends, I'm 110% already sold. Like, my ass is in the seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't feel the need to watch any more trailers. It's kind of like, like with Jessica Jones, like, the teasers sold you enough where you felt like you could stop. You didn't, you need to see anymore. So, I don't know. I can't wait for it though. Start sometime. Is it January? What day did you say at some point?
I'm almost positive it's January 21st.
Okay, yeah. Mark your calendars for that, guys. And with that, we're going to wrap up the TV portion of the news. And speaking of DC superhero team-ups, I think we might be getting one with this first news story. Warner Brothers Montreal, which is the gaming company that was set up to do Arkham Origins, which was it was the third Batman game, right, before Knight came out.
Yes, it was the one that was the prequel, basically.
So Rocksteady famously announced they were finishing up with Arkham Knight and they were going to be stepping away from Batman. But there's no way in hell they're not going to be making DC/Batman games.
Not when they already have the rights to characters and stuff.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
the rights to make games.
So this article popped up in the last few days, basically saying Warner Brothers Montreal is working on 2 AAA projects for expanding the DC Comics universe. Let's see. The quote: "We are a growing studio with 2 AAA projects in development focused on expanding the DC Comics." And then that started the rumor mill all over the internet, people throwing out everything from more Batman to Flash to Justice League, but the one that I'm thinking at least one of them is do you remember, I guess this is a spoiler for like the after credits scene in Arkham Origins, but they teased Suicide Squad.
They did tease
Suicide Squad because
I don't know.
the movie's coming out.
Yeah, but I just don't know. They did tease Suicide Squad, which was interesting, and then nothing ever happened with it. But, to get that machine rolling, you're talking about getting the rights to the Suicide Squad name. You're talking about getting the rights to all the characters you want. I mean, it takes a while to get that machine rolling.
Well, no, they already own all of Suicide Squad, though. They have access to every DC thing. So they can do Suicide Squad if they want. Like, it's free. Like, they already use
the company that for the longest time couldn't do a Justice League movie because they would have to sue themselves for the rights with the way they had everything set up legally. So, I don't know. But, I don't know. I don't feel like, even though there is a Suicide Squad movie coming up and there's attention being brought to it, I just don't feel like at this point in time there would be a Suicide Squad game.
Well, these are ones just now starting development. Like, the article broke because they announced positions opening up for positions they were looking to fill for, like, programmers and shit to make the games. So these it takes a while to make a game, so these are probably going to be another, like, year or so out at least, if not more. So I think by that point, if
I just don't feel like it's a big enough.
I think the Suicide Squad movie, with the Joker and Harley Quinn associated with it, they're going to be big. I think it's going to be a good moneymaker for them. I think it is going to be a brand that they'll want to use.
I'll still be surprised if it's Suicide Squad.
Let's just say hypothetically one of them is Suicide Squad. I think that could be amazing for a game. Because what I would like to see them do with it is, are you familiar with how Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3, have you ever heard, I know you haven't played them, but have you heard about how people die, they're dead for your save?
Yes.
I think it'd be really, really cool if at any point in your missions, let's say like you have Killer Croc. If Killer Croc dies in your mission, he's just fucking dead from your game. I think you could do some interesting stuff with the character deaths.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the coolest things about Mass Effect was when people died, they were fucking dead. And I think that could add a lot of tension to your game if you're like, holy shit, if I lose Harley Quinn on this mission, she's dead from my game. I think that could be interesting. So what do you think? What do you think they are? What would you like them to be?
Well, I think one of them is almost undoubtedly Justice League in some shape or form. I don't know how they're going to get around not doing Justice League, especially after in Arkham Knight how we did the the different controls to like switch to Nightwing and Robin and Catwoman all during battle and everything. I think you're going to have Batman throw someone to Superman, throw someone to Flash, and Green Lantern delivers the KO. is what you're going to end up doing with combos and stuff, which I think would be really cool. I have no idea what the second one could be. Does the article say that they're both team based?
Let's see. As far as I know,
we're both looking at the article.
Quote, we are a growing studio with 2 AAA projects. Focus on expanding the DC Comics universe. So,
I don't know how you could get around one of them not being Justice League. So I think one of them is Justice League. Especially with all the Superman stuff that was in Arkham Knight. I mean, they were just throwing it in your face left and right. There was even a Lex Luthor tower, or like a Luthor... What's this company?
LexCorp.
I'm not a big Superman person, obviously. But yeah, there's even a LexCorp tower in Arkham Knight. So...
I think one of them... Okay, here are the ones that I think are possibilities.
Okay.
Obviously, another Arkham prequel type game, because Batman makes money, period, for them.
Yes.
Even if it's not going to be Rocksteady, it's going to make money for them. Justice League is totally on the table. I wouldn't be surprised if it is Suicide Squad, because think about the way Warner Brothers looks at it. What was so obviously they started the movie franchises out with Superman, with Man of Steel, right?
Yes.
Your second one is Batman and Superman with Wonder Woman as a maybe cameo, whatever the fuck it ends up being. What's the next one right after that? Like Suicide Squad. I think they feel... I understand your thinking on you'd be surprised, but I'm basing it on they're confident in it enough to where that's the first time you see the Joker is in Suicide Squad. I think they feel strongly about it. So I think that's on the table. And the one that I hope is one of them that I think would be really, really fun and interesting is the Flash. I would play the shit out of a Flash game.
Yeah, I would love that, but I still, the mechanics of how that would work, how the gameplay would work in my head is a bit odd, but I feel like that's a real hit or miss. Like, it's either going to be fucking amazing or fucking awful.
Yeah, it would take clever programming, because, just the way that you would set up his powers, how you do an upgrade tree.
Anyone that was bold enough to make the Batman games that they made, though, and make them as good as they were, could probably pull it off.
Yeah, before those, we never really had a good Batman game.
Oh, no.
Rocksteady provided the blueprint for that. So, yeah, I think it's either Flash, Suicide Squad, another Arkham prequel game, or Justice League. I think those are some combination of that, I think, is what we're going to see. Because Flash is just huge right now. They're killing it. I think that could be... But I will play the shit out of both of them because... I know it's... A lot of people hated Arkham Origins, and it was buggy, but I really liked the storyline. I never
had anything that broke my game except for the one, and I had to go kill myself, and then when I killed myself, I was fine. So...
Yeah, I really liked Arkham Origins. I thought it was one of the better storylines they had in those games. But
I will tell you this much. I've never been more terrified than the first or second boss I had to fight being Deathstroke.
Oh, it was such a good boss.
I thought he was going to be the 8th fucking boss, dude, of the 8. I didn't think he was going to be the first.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of Batman, we got some more Batman gaming news, which somehow fucking snuck past Ron and I.
I have no idea how.
And we didn't figure this out for 2 days, but Telltale started out their just rampage on absorbing every title they can. They started out with Walking Dead. They started Game of Thrones. Wolf Among Us is one of the ones they have. Minecraft. They're starting Marvel in 2017. Well, they announced it's coming in 2016, Batman. Out of nowhere. Fucking out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So this is incredibly exciting because one of the things Ron and I both really, really love about Batman is the detective aspect of it, which is never really represented. Even in, it's present in the Arkham games, but it's not ever a focus. Obviously, they're going to make it more about the action. But it being Telltale, it has to be a detective story, which is really interesting, I think.
Yeah, no, I am all over that. And, I haven't played all of their games, but the games that I have played, I have enjoyed thoroughly. And a lot of the games that I haven't played, I haven't played Game of Thrones yet, but it was received very well, and it's getting a second season. So, I am all over a Telltale Batman thing, and for it to be detective work and everything, it has to be with their model. Unless they drastically change their model.
Has to be.
Yeah.
And to their credit, we were talking earlier about, like, with the Hunger Games, we were criticizing their ability to create their own material within the property. Telltale's, like, the best at it. Walking Dead is its own thing.
The Game of
Clementine
Thrones.
and Lee work totally within the universe for their original characters.
All their games, more or less, probably with the exception of Wolf Among Us, is its own story.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is its own thing, working perfectly within the universe. Minecraft, they literally made up the story mode for the game that had no story mode.
Yeah. So,
like, they've shown they're great at that.
And the level of detail that they take, like, say, in the Walking Dead games, the ones that you and I are intimately familiar with, it's the same fucking camera angles, it's the same fades, the same cuts. The scripting for the story is very similar to The Walking Dead. The pacing is the same. So imagine if they're taking a comic book property, what it's going to look like with that graphic novel art style like Walking Dead has and all their games kind of have. Mm-hmm. Imagine you're going to be going into basically a moving, talking comic book. I think it's going to be pretty impressive.
Literally Jeff Crack.
Yeah.
Like everything you just said, just Jeff Crack.
Yeah. It's going to be a motion comic that you can control, and it's going to be great.
We talked when we heard about this, and first of all, freaked the fuck out, or like, how the shit did we not hear about this for 2 days? But our second thought was, who's the villain? And the two ideas I think we came up with that made the most sense for a detective Batman game, which is basically going to be more like interactive fiction, which I'm okay with. I like their brand of game that they've kind of patented in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
The Riddler would work perfectly for what they want to do, I think. And probably would be more, maybe even more Telltale of them to do would be to do Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Because they could be the first to kind of tackle that in like a more, I know it's a game, but in like a more cinematic representation. So it's basically an interactive movie. Like, to me, the Court of Owls works for them because they like kind of doing more Dark Horse stuff, like either making up their own stuff or kind of...
knowing Telltale, ultimately, it's going to be its own thing, but I think if they take elements of anything, it's definitely going to be Court of Owls. Because not only is that a recent thing, and not only is it popular, but, what was it, Batman vs. Robin? It was pretty popular, and it had elements from it, so... it's out there in everybody's minds right now. So I think if they borrow any properties or any ideas from properties, it's definitely going to be Court of Owls. If it's not its own purely original
if they announce the fucking Telltale Batman thing is all Court of Owls, like, I might die. That's one of my favorite comic stories ever is the Court of Owls stuff. But you need to fucking finish, dick. You've had my graphic
novel
for
right
like a
over
year.
here.
Bastard.
I can show it to you, Jeff. It's right here.
Oh, I know it's there, dick. Next up we have another Telltale news article that recently popped up. This was something I think Ron had heard of. I of course had no idea it was happening because
you had no idea
into the news.
I had seen it. I said you had no idea.
No clue.
I had seen it on Twitter for here and there for a little bit. First it was rumblings, and then it was rumors, and now apparently it's due out in February.
Yep. Walking Dead, a Michonne spinoff in their Telltale style.
All over that.
Wanting to do a miniseries, probably. What is it? Well, they're all episodic. So what do you think Telltale considers a miniseries? Like 4?
I don't know. 3 to 4.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all 5, unless they're saying it's only doing one season.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. They're
but
weird.
Then why not just say one season? So it might only be like, say, 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'll play it though. More Telltale. I do get a little concerned at the raw number of shit they're taking on. Like,
yeah.
So far we haven't been burned, but man, like, they're doing Batman now. They're doing, they're starting Batman and starting Marvel, and they plan to do multiple seasons of basically all the shit they've already been doing. Borderlands is another one we didn't mention. They have that too.
I guess it just determines on how they do it. Like, we know Marvel's process for cranking out movies like they do and everything. I guess whatever their process is, I hope it holds up, because what they've been doing is glorious. And like you said, dude, they are getting stretched pretty thin.
Yeah, I hope we don't eventually get to the point where we're like I don't want to have happen to them what happened with Assassin's Creed. Like, I don't even play Assassin's Creed. I'm fucking sick of seeing a new Assassin's Creed game every year. Like, give it a goddamn rest. It's like I've seen the last like 4 Assassin's Creeds are literally the same game with just new skin. It's like charging $60. Like, fuck them. Yeah. I don't want it to be burned out. I don't want everyone to be so burned out where we're like, oh my god, season 2 of Telltale Batman, I'm just sick of this shit. Like, that would be heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
But speaking of heartbreaking, we're going to go up to our final topic, and this one's going to be just all Ron losing his shit. I can't wait to hear this. We're going to start off by saying, I think you're on record as Final Fantasy VII is your favorite game of all time.
Yes.
Are you on record as that? Okay.
Yes.
So, Ron, you might have heard they're kind of remaking it.
What?
And they released in the past few days. We're going to start off with you talking about your thoughts on the gameplay footage.
Okay, I'm also on record on this podcast as not wanting this remake at all, and I think I'm the only fan of this game in the world that does not want this remake. So, I looked at the gameplay footage, and the first thing I will tell you is that it is fucking gorgeous. And I love that they have taken the character designs from the movie Advent Children. I love that. They remixed the music. It's not the same music from the movie, but what was great about the movie was, you know, you had PlayStation level music translated into cinematic music, and it was fantastic. They have redone that. That is all great. The problems that I have is it's just Final Fantasy 13 with a Final Fantasy 7 skin on it.
Okay, real quick. I have never played any of these games. Give me in layman's terms the difference from 7 to 13.
7 was back in the day when they still did top-down, like old-school Zelda views. And you just kind of walked around Pokemon style until you got attacked by something. And it was just things like that. 13 is almost like the South Park game, Stick of Truth.
Okay.
You know how you're walking around, Stick of Truth was more left to right, side scroller ish, but in a 3D world. But this is more like third person. You can see the enemies up ahead, and if you get too close and to their aggro range, they charge you, and then you go into your battle screens. And 7's battle system was fucking fantastic, dude. Think Pokemon turn-based with a twist. And that twist is, it's called an active battle system. So, you know in Pokemon how you can just sit there and think almost like chess without a timer, however long you want, on what you want to do to try to survive?
Yeah.
You have a fucking timer. And you can't attack again until your timer is full. And guess what? If you take too long, your enemy's timer is full again, and they can attack again. So you're under pressure still to make a move, even though it's turn-based. And they can go out of turn if their timer meter is full again. So it was pretty sweet. In Final Fantasy 13, they took like active battle system to the nth degree, and it played more like a slasher game, but a little bit of Final Fantasy VII's combat system mixed in. It was really wonky, and it takes a lot of getting used to. And that's all I see when I watch that. Like, there's no nostalgia of the gameplay in the gameplay footage at all. What I see is movie nostalgia and character nostalgia. I don't see the game's nostalgia.
Okay, so right now they've kind of adapted it. It's more similar to 13.
Yes.
Did you always dislike 13's combat, or just prefer 7's?
I preferred 7's because that was the Final Fantasy era I played games in. Okay. I played their games in. But 13's wasn't bad for 13 because it was 13's combat system. You know what I mean? It was its own thing in its own game, and for all I know, 12 might have been that way. But 13's the one I have experience with, and once I got used to it, it wasn't bad, but it was weird. It didn't feel like Final Fantasy to me. And 7, it had a beautiful combat system for what it was.
So what do you think their thinking was to change it like that?
Make it epic.
Because people have been clamoring for this remake forever.
Over 10 years.
I don't really get, if you're going to remake it, I guess it's part of, what you're getting at. I can understand updating it, but to update it, 6 games ahead, I think is a little, what's the point, I guess is what I'm saying. Why would they even make Final Fantasy VII a remake and then not, give you the nostalgia you wanted? I don't get their business decision on making it the way they did.
Well, the business decision overall was just pure scratch. I mean, it's going to make $1 bajillion no matter what they do. It could be the biggest steaming pile of shit, and people are still going to buy it because of what it is. But the idea behind the remake, it's not it's not like an HD upgrade. It's not anything like that. When they said remake, they're remaking it from the ground up, supposedly. So they have rebuilt everything in the game and all the game mechanics. And they're trying to basically take it and, I guess more or less, if to use movie terms, reboot it.
Yeah.
Is the way I look at it. They're just trying to... It seems to me like they're trying to make a new product out of the same game.
Yeah, this whole thing,
it's weird.
It's been okay. You strongly disliked what you've been seeing out of the gameplay. Did you happen to see what the general reception was to this gameplay footage? Are people liking it?
I think overall people seem to be excited for it, but the excitement that I have been seeing when I look at comments and news articles or on Twitter, where I saw everything when it broke, because it didn't break Twitter, but it was in probably the top 10 trending. It was number 5 or number 6 or something. And all the reception to it that I have seen so far is just Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII, and just people, drooling and foaming at the mouth for Final Fantasy VII. It wasn't really oh my god, the gameplay looks amazing, or the new combat system's incredible. It was Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII. So I think it's just more excitement that it's happening.
All they give a shit about is if it sells.
Yeah.
And that works as a segue to the second half of this conversation.
Oh god. Here's where I'm going to blow a blood vessel in my eye.
Yeah, this is when Ron's is going to die. So they had this thing come out basically saying Final Fantasy VII Remake, we have to release it episodically. And their initial excuse, I'm sorry, was bullshit.
Yes, total
They tried
bullshit.
to pull, we're in fucking 2001, a disk space storage issue. I'm sorry, last time I checked, have you guys seen The Witcher 3? The Witcher 3 is insane. How much is in there and how gorgeous it is, and, that's all on one disc. So you're gonna tell me you had to make it episodic because of a disk space issue? That's a lie.
Yeah, that is
flat
a
out
complete
fucking lie. We were in 2015. Ron, how many gigs can you fit on a Blu-ray?
50. 50 on a consumer level. On industry levels, probably more than that.
Yeah. So
hey,
that was my just first
Here's
reaction.
the biggest problem I have with that, Jeff. Here we are in the year 2015 when the video game industry has been desperately trying as hard as they can to shift away from physical media and get all on digital download and streaming. So your disk space is the problem. Okay. Put it out on the PlayStation Store and Steam. Even players who despise not having physical media, I do not like not having physical media. If I'm paying for a game, I want to be able to hold the box. I will fucking buy that no matter what media it comes out on. Okay? Even though I'm against it, I was still going to buy it, play it, so I can rage hate it and yell and scream about it on Nerdy Pathetic Casuals. So, it was going to happen. Now, I ain't going anywhere fucking near this game. Because, no. My guess is when most companies say they're going to release something episodically, it typically is in 3 parts. Well, that's convenient because the original game had 3 discs. One thing that pisses me off about that is disc 3 better be more than just the boss fight. Because that is pretty much all that's on disc 3. Disc 1 was pretty strong. It's got a pretty intense first couple hours. But you're going to be talking part 1, part 2, part 3, probably released 6 to 12 months apart, and probably all $60 each.
That's
what the
big
fuck?
Thing. That's the big thing. I hope they're not that fucking douchebaggish about this.
Yeah.
Because they totally can sell those at $60 a pop. And when is this shit supposed to come out? It's like 2 years for the first part. Wasn't that the... So, they totally could. God, I hope they don't, because, it's depressing the precedent it could potentially set for the gaming industry, because, like you said, all those comments you saw, people like, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
If the gamers go out and just, feed all of those dollar bills into their bank account like they want them to, it's just going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, no,
Because then, what fucking incentive does anyone have to put their full game into a $60 product anymore?
What if it tanks? What if, the reception, disc 1 is kind of shaky, but it's disc 1, then part 2 comes out, and people are just pissed off, and people take to YouTube and everything to check it out before they buy it, and then no one buys it, and it tanks. The people that bought it, are they left high and dry without a part 3, without a finale? That's one issue that I have, and Final Fantasy VII will not be the property that does that, but if it sets a precedent and other games start doing that, then yeah, you're going to have people left high and dry without a conclusion to their story. I'm getting to the verge of basically shutting down almost all of my gaming, because the precedents just within this year, people have been setting with not even entire games, but DLC. Yeah.
I loved Arkham Knight. There was no goddamn reason for that bullshit DLC to be as much as it was for the season pass. What was it, $40?
Yeah, it was like a $40 season pass.
And you know how much I love Battlefront, but they want $50 for their DLC season pass.
It's a whole nother game.
They're fucking high. They're fucking high.
And for what? Tell me it's not like Call of Duty Seasons Pass where it's like gun skins and shit. Tell me it's not that.
It wasn't that bad. The way that I understood it was their season pass was going to get you, I think, 16 new maps, more actual blaster rifles to use, and more playable hero characters.
So it is actually adding some value to the game. It's not worth $40.
If it had been $20, $25, I would have bought that shit. But for $50, we're in 2015. How many games on a Black Friday Steam sale can you get for $50?
Probably 50 games, depending on what games you're getting, yeah.
You got the first Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition for $5
yes,
on
I did.
A sale.
Recently, I got Alien Isolation, which I think is still $60 for PlayStation 4. I got that for $12 on Steam. Same game.
Gamers need to start freaking voting with their dollar, and they're awful at it. I don't understand.
No, I was going to say, they've been voting with their dollar, and it's not good.
We need to... Because it's not difficult. Just don't buy the shit until you hear about it.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing, too. How the shit did the gaming industry get it into everyone's minds that it's totally acceptable to pre-order the game 6 months before it came out? I didn't go and fucking pre-order tickets to Avengers Age of Ultron 6 months before it came out.
Yeah.
There's no reason to. And that's a $12 movie ticket. These are $60 games.
Yeah. That's quite a chunk of change.
Why? Why would you wait? Or why would you not wait and make sure you're getting a quality fucking game? Like, what the gaming industry has done and what gaming consumers have been willing to do to shape the industry is sickening. Like, I don't understand why this is happening. It's sad.
Know. But you know what? The genius on Square Enix's part is choosing Final Fantasy VII to pull this shit with. Because it doesn't matter what they do. It does not matter what they do at all, Jeff. It is going to make $1 bajillion. And they're going to find other properties to do the same thing with.
Yeah, you know? And what also leads to your point on your thinking it's going to be 60 is one of their quotes was they wanted every episode to feel like a complete, fully packaged game.
Yep.
That screams $60.
Yeah.
What's your opinion if it's 50 for each one? Does that help you in any way, shape, or form?
Nope. I mean, maybe 30. But
see, that was
to
in my opinion, and now I don't have a nostalgia built in because I've never played these games. I think it's fucking insane asking for people to pay a grand total of $100 for this. Dude. A game they've already played, and even if their remake is passable, if it's that beloved, there's no way people are going to like it more. No. And one of the issues I'm going to run into also that I don't think they give a shit about, because one thing that's worried me about this remake is they only talk about how gorgeous it is. What it really reminds me of is No Man's Sky, where they talk about how big everything is, how big the game is, and they don't talk about anything else or any value to the gameplay. They only really talk about how gorgeous it is and how much like the movie the characters look. Okay? And I will give them those two things. That's beautiful. The combat style is a lot like what you see in the movie, which is beautiful. That's what I expect. When I saw the movie the first time after playing the game, that's what I was hoping the combat would look like in real life. But that game, all of that aside, Jeff, you've never played the English version. I have no idea how good the Japanese version is. The English version is translated horribly poorly. You're reading between the lines most of the time, okay? That story is still the best, one of the best goddamn narratives out of any movie, TV show, or video game I've ever seen. For the way they talk about graphics only, and the way that they are breaking up everything into episodes and trying to make everything feel like its own individual game so that they can say it is and charge $60 a pop, I'm not the only one that loves that game for its story. I mean, the PlayStation was capable of more graphics than what it had at the time. No one played it for the graphics. The way they skirted the storage capacity issue and got it down to 3 discs was a still backdrop, and they dropped items on the map here and there. They stick out like sore thumbs, like treasure chests and everything. But they pulled a total Disney move with backdrops and just drew over it for the gameplay. And everything they could do, the cinematics were gorgeous for the time, don't get me wrong, but it was all that game was not just the gameplay itself. The narrative was one of the biggest things why everybody loves that game, and that's the only nostalgia that would be left in that remake for me. Other than, like I said, it's got some nostalgia for the movie, but I can pull the movie out anytime and watch the movie anytime. And not pay $150 for it.
And not pay $150 for it. So, I don't know how they're going to get the story as good, even if they can't do the same story and break it up episodically like that to make everything feel like its own and get the same quality story. And if it's a remake, God knows what they're going to change. They might be updating the story to make it more modern or something. So they could be changing some of those elements.
Man,
I'm really fucking done if they mess with the story.
The gaming industry just makes me sad. Like they're like outside of CD Projekt Red, Rockstar is pretty cool. They're all a bunch of fucking scumbags.
Blizzard was cool, but they're kind of on my radar now.
Yeah,
because they're starting to sound a lot more like Activision than Blizzard. So
I mean, even like Rocksteady let me down with that Arkham Knight shit. With like the DLC is garbage. The poor people on the PC still can't play the game. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, everybody is turning into EA.
On a real quick aside, that's what one of the Warner Brothers Montreal games is they finally got Arkham Knight PC to work. That's one of the two games. All right, well, I think we're getting near the end of our episode, so do you have any more closing thoughts on the whole Final Fantasy VII debacle? Or soon-to-be debacle?
Soon-to-be debacle. No, it's just... I'm pretty disappointed in everything that I've seen and heard, because to me, if I hear you're doing a remake ground up, I don't expect to see another game that I own on my shelf already with a different skin on it. I expect that from Call of Duty. I don't expect that from one of the most beloved games of all times, which they say in their trailer, which is true, I will give you, to be a game I already own with a different skin on it. And I can even look past that a little bit if, they help me out with some nostalgia here and there, because honestly, that's the whole thing that's driving everybody's, love of everything they're seeing of the remake. It's not what they're seeing in the remake itself. It's the nostalgia for the original game.
Yeah.
So, there's more, the more of that they send out the window, the worse this is going to get. And then you're going to release it episodically. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, this screams Square Enix being a douchebag, and to them I say what I say to 98% of the gaming industry, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I hate the way they slave drive developers into working 80-hour weeks. The fucking Kanazis, I'm pretty sure people are still chained to their desks,
Yes.
I'm
pretty sure there are skeletons chained to a desk out there, dude.
Yeah. What? It's just it's a mess, and it's not going to happen with this because what you said, it's going to make $1 bajillion regardless. This isn't the one to make it happen, but the gaming industry needs to be humbled in some way, shape, or form, because the way it's trending with the DLC prices and just this episodic thing they're trying to pull with the Final Fantasy VII, No Man's Sky, people trying to focus on an aspect of a game and forgetting to make a game seems to be a popular thing now. There's a lot of people complaining about the new gen. The PS4 and the Xbox One has the capability to throw a whole lot of shit in your game. And what people have been mostly doing with that hardware is creating busy work.
Yeah.
That doesn't make your game more fun. It just makes your game more of a chore.
See, and that's the issue that I have with Nintendo consoles. Not necessarily their handheld. A little bit of their handheld, but mostly their consoles, like the Wii and the Wii U and the PlayStation Vita. All of that hardware is capable of so many awesome, awesome feats. But those two companies are the worst at actually using that technology and actually using that capability. And it's not entirely their fault, but it kind of is for not enticing developers more. But developers, they don't want to make a single game 3 times. You can't blame them for that. So they make it as easy as they can to pour over and everything. I mean, most of the time, the touch capability of the PlayStation 4 controller is like the start button. You know what I mean? That's it. You push it and it brings up your map or something like it does on Xbox One. So, I don't know. I think they just there needs to be some kind of consortium or something where they kind of, how they came together on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and agreed on hardware to make porting easier. They need to do something like that, similar to the capabilities to get that side working. Because the individual companies coming up with their own things, even their in-house games, don't really take advantage very well of anything. Nintendo is the worst at that. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. The video game industry is a horrible, horrible slave driving, misogynistic, I'm going to rape you for all of your money industry. So yeah,
and they need to be humbled, and unfortunately, this is not going to be the one to do it.
No.
I'm still waiting I'm still waiting for goddamn Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed to bottom out. People keep buying the fucking shit every year.
The only company out there that is fighting the good fight is CD Projekt Red. And you know what? They came out just this past week, sometime just this past week, and said, you know what, we don't think it would be fair to not make Witcher 4. And, I mean, stuff like that. Like, sure, they're going to make $1 bajillion, so yeah, who's it not fair for? But at the same time, this is the company that all DLC is always free, and their expansion...
Or very cheap.
Their DLC they've said will always be free, and their expansion for Witcher 3 was like $10, and it added like 10 to 12 hours of gameplay, Jeff. What the fuck did Arkham Knight add for like $20?
Arkham Knight, by the end of that $40 season pass, you got, I think, 4 45-minute to an hour-long bullshit side character missions with like Batgirl and Nightwing and Red Hood and someone else. And you got skins, basically, and challenge maps. All garbage.
Whoa.
All garbage.
I stand corrected.
And by the time they released the like the skins and shit, it was like 6 months after the game had come out. Like,
yeah, I was done with the game. I was done with the game. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're like, I don't understand it. But the other company I do really like, I like their approach to it, is Rockstar. Because how many years go by in between Grand Theft Autos?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
What, 4 or 5? Like, they let you, and then it's not like every year there's a different title coming out. Like, we still don't even have the next Red Dead. That came out, like, what, 2011? Like,
yeah, somewhere around there.
They have a focus on quality that I think is really, really starting to fall apart, because what people are doing now is the Assassin's Creed Call of Duty model.
Here's the ironic thing. And I know we've gone a lot longer than we meant to, but I just want to at least close out with this. They approach sustainability, ironically, the only way you can approach sustainability. Because they focus on the product. The product has to be good, and that means they can't do annual releases with that, right? Usually Grand Theft Auto, the overall gameplay is pretty similar game to game, but the narrative is different, and there's usually several features that make each game unique. And the narrative is usually hailed as pretty damn good, okay? Then, say you have Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed every single goddamn year, right? That's their idea of sustainable, but the problem is it will eventually bottom out because of burnout. People are going to get tired of buying the same game eventually. It will happen. I mean, there's no getting around it.
Especially when you release one every now and then that don't fucking work, Unity.
Yeah.
You bastards.
Yeah, no. My wife still had the best Unity Slam, though, when we saw the strategy guide or book or whatever it was on a shelf. And I was like, no, it was a novelized version of the story of Unity is what it was. And I was like, oh, look, they novelized Unity. And she was like, I bet it still crashes. Like, that was... She's not even plugged into this stuff, dude. That was the best Unity Slam I have ever heard.
And even she knew it didn't fucking work. Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right, well, I think that's going to bring this episode to an end. This has been episode 37. God, we've been doing this for way too long. So we're quitting at 50, right? We're going to stop at even 50.
We've gone 36 episodes longer than our fans thought we would.
That our fans hoped we would.
That our fan hoped we would.
Yeah. Well, thank you, nobody who stayed all the way through our video game rant, Ron's aneurysm about Final Fantasy VII. But if you found us through iTunes or Stitcher, we really appreciate it if you left us a review. If you happen to find us through YouTube, where we upload all of our material, all of our podcasts, all of our Let's Plays, like and subscribe while you're on there. You can get access to everything on YouTube. We're on the social medias. We upload news every now and then to Twitter. It's not enough to where it'll get you super annoyed, like a lot of tweet machines like to do on there, just like news. It's never that bad. It's on Twitter at TWBE Podcast and Facebook.com/TWBE Podcast. And Ron, I feel like I'm forgetting something. What am I forgetting?
I don't know. Did you plug Facebook?
Yeah.
No.
Did you? It's like We're fucking having a podcast and a conversation. Like, well, did you plug Facebook that you just did 10 seconds ago?
I can't help
You know,
it.
Ron
I
doesn't
zone out
realize
when you talk.
is when he starts his Final Fantasy VII debate, I go make a sandwich. That's the part he misses. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. Well, I guess I didn't forget anything. Not like anyone's listening. Like fucking Ron over there. Did you plug Facebook? Bastard.
I don't know. Plug Dark Souls or Star Wars or something.
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
You said Dark Souls.
Alien?
Yeah, we, what are we on, like, part 16 of Dark Souls?
Yes, 14 just
check
went
those out.
live
Those are
as
a
of
good
this
time.
recording.
You at least need to check out one of the upcoming ones, because Ron dies like 35 times in one episode, and it was the most glorious thing of all time.
Yeah, that's the next one. That's the one that will be releasing Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely seek that out. Well, I am Jeff.
I am Ron.
And we appreciate you checking us out. We will see you guys next time.